Hey movie lovers, what's going on? I'm your host Joss. Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. To find us beyond this screen, just check out our social media links. They are linked down below. And make sure you join me at the end of this video for some comment shoutouts, because that is always a good time. Raise your hand if you ever hated some of the rules your parents had when you were a kid. Some of them totally sucked and felt completely irrational and unfair. Am I right? But I bet I can make your childhood feel a little bit better with today's list. Let's check it out. Here is Top 10 strict rules child Hollywood actors have to follow. Starting off the list at number 10 is they are told what to wear. It's common for a studio to pick out the clothes of their young stars to wear on screen as they design stuff specifically for their character. However, sometimes this practice goes a little too far. Some studios require the actor to keep their image the same when they are outside of the show or movie. Many young actors have a stylist from the show who works alongside them for any other appearances and stuff so that their image always remains the way that they want it to. This might seem like a pretty sweet gig to some people, but the problem is that you are styled the way they want you to be styled, not the way that you might want to be. It even goes as far as nail polish. It has been said that Disney would require their female stars to keep their nails plain and short. They weren't allowed to have nail art or experience with different colors unless the show approved it for their character. Basically, your entire outside appearance is under their control. Miley Cyrus opened up about it to Marie Claire and said, "From the time I was 11, it was, you're a pop star. That means you have to be blonde and you have to have long hair and you have to put on some glittery tight thing. Meanwhile, I am this fragile little girl playing a 16-year-old in a wig and ton of makeup. It was like toddlers and tiaras." I guess from the outside looking in, that lifestyle doesn't seem all that bad. But this is interesting. I feel like I've dreamt of a life like that. But then when you put it like this, not so fun. Up next, number 9 is Disney can legally own the rights to their names. What? A particular example is when Miley Cyrus got hired for her role on the show Hannah Montana. She was playing the pop star Hannah, but also herself, a regular girl going to school and living that double life. Apparently, when she first got hired, her character's name was actually Kylie Stewart. It was the first day of filming that the producers allowed her to use her real name for the show, which is why you saw her play Miley Stewart all those years. Cyrus says that her and her family were thrilled to be able to use her real name, but that's because they didn't realize that Disney could own all of the rights to her name. Disney owned the name Miley, not her. It became a huge issue when they started to use her name for CDs while working on the show because they could technically have some rights to her name in her music career. Good news is, Miley's mom Tish Cyrus was savvy enough to hire a lawyer right away to make sure that they had legal guidance and the rights throughout her music career. Disney will forever own the name Miley Stewart in all of her work connected to the Hannah Montana show, including some songs, but she has the rights to her own name now. Lesson learned. Coming in at number 8 is their social media posts require permission. Both Instagram and Twitter have a rule that you have to be 13 years old to have an account with them. With the new regulations, Twitter cannot legally keep content that was posted by a user when they were younger than the age of 13. This is why you will often see in a child star's social media bio, it says, "account run by my mom," and then they tag their parent, etc. They have to have their account overlooked by a guardian in order to get approved to have an account younger than 13 years old. But on top of that, a company like Disney makes their child actors get permission from someone in the Disney management system to approve their posts. They do this so that no leaked information gets out and also to keep their image in tip-top shape. This goes for adults too sometimes. Mike Myers and Cameron Diaz actually had to sign a contract saying that they would not post or say anything about their characters in the movie Shrek 2 without permission by Disney. Imagine being an adult and having to get permission to post. So weird. For the most part though, it's more of a confidential issue, but part of it has to do with the overall image of the company. Sliding into number 7 is purity. Guys, I don't think we could ever forget when the Jonas Brothers had those purity rings. I literally went out and bought one just to match Nick, thinking that we would end up together one day. That clearly did not happen. At the time, the guys said they were wearing the rings to show that they would keep themselves pure until they met and married the love of their lives. The boys have since opened up and said that they felt the pressure from the network to uphold this act of purity throughout their career with them. The purity went beyond the rings though. They weren't allowed to have lyrics that would suggest anything unpure. Joe Jonas opened up to Hollywood Reporter in 2013 and said, I quote, "If a lyric was slightly sexual, someone at the record company would tell us we had to change it. It could be the most innocent reference like, 'I'm alone in a room with you,' and it would have to go. It felt like we couldn't be creative." Nick backed him up on this and once said that he never had a, I quote, "full understanding on why he had to wear the ring at the time. He said he did it simply because it was the requirement of his bosses." And don't think for a second that this was just the male child actors. actors, females are required to keep the same image of purity. Miley Cyrus recently shared a post on Instagram sharing that she got kicked off of Hotel Transylvania after she bought her boyfriend Liam Hemsworth a penis cake for his birthday. Now, in most cases, what we do outside of our job isn't really anyone's business, but for young actors, it is a whole different story. Which brings us to number 6, the famous Disney morality clause. We have talked about the squeaky clean innocent image that child actors have to uphold when working with a network like Disney, but they are so strict about it, they actually have a morality clause within their contract that the actors have to sign. It pretty much means that they can be dropped from the network if they get caught up in a scandal that would bring the Disney name into a negative light. A prime example of this is when Vanessa Hudgens had nudes leaked online and the network had to decide if they were going to let her go or not. They weighed out the pros and cons of each option and knew that it would do more damage if they removed her from the High School Musical franchise. Apparently they had her in the Disney offices for a whole day because they were trying to figure out how to keep her on lockdown because the world literally went ape crazy. The morality clause was so important to them that Bella Thorne once admitted that she was told to get rid of her husky voice when working with a network, so during press interviews for the show, she would give off a higher pitched voice. Disney apparently told her that this would help create the good girl image that they were going for. Halfway through the list at number 5 is working long hours. Child actors are only allowed to work between the hours of 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. on school days, and when school is out, the hours stretch from 5 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. It all depends on their age for how many hours a day they are legally allowed to work on a set. Some child actors don't have to go to school and have a licensed school teacher come to the set to teach them, which makes their working days even longer. Miley Cyrus was only 11 years old at the time she booked her lead role in Hannah Montana. She opened up about her experience as a child actor to The Wrap and said she was working 12-hour days. It got to a point where her mom actually brought in lights for seasonal affective disorder because she literally didn't get to spend any time outside. She even admitted to drinking coffee at a really young age. She said, "Every morning I was getting coffee jammed down my throat to wake me up. I just had to keep going, be tough, and be strong." That is crazy, man. My mom wouldn't even let me drink coffee until I was like 16. I wasn't even allowed to try a sip of it. Not even tea. Here we are at number 4 with a network can own your acting career. What does this exactly mean? Turns out that when a child actor is working with a network and has a contract with them, the network can actually prevent them from booking other jobs. There are some actors who have worked on multiple projects at a time, but most child actors are held back. Networks like Disney and Nickelodeon are known for this because they only want their actors associated with their network. As long as their TV show is going on, they can block their talent from accepting an offer for something else. Even if the show isn't in production but is signed up for another season, they can withhold them from some of their projects. This is why we saw Selena Gomez booking a job like Spring Breakers once her Disney contract was officially up. Turns out Disney doesn't really care what you have to say about things either. We only know this because recently Dylan Sprouse from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody opened up to Vulture and said, I quote, "I don't think Disney Channel was willing to work with us, really, ever, so we stopped the show." He and his twin brother Cole left the network when they were 18 years old, their contract was up and they no longer wanted to work with them. Alright guys, at number 3 is you cannot have a beard. Depending on the network, that is. It is common that an actor will play someone younger than their actual age, and like every other human, you cannot control when puberty hits. Some young actors grow a beard at an early age, but because of their character, they are required to shave it off. And not just once a week. They have to shave pretty much daily as long as they're working on the show and playing a young character on camera. Both Joe Jonas and Zac Efron have openly expressed that having to shave every day was incredibly annoying for them throughout their teenage filming years. Not only did they have to shave while on set, but they also had to do it when doing any kind of press or promotional work for their movie or show because they had to remain with their character's young image. Joe Jonas told The Hollywood Reporter, "I had to shave every day because they wanted me to pretend like I was 16 when I was actually 20. When the show was done, I cut my hair off and grew as much of a beard as I could." That must have felt so good for him, although I really liked his long hair. In spot number 2 is required media training. Being associated with a big network as a child actor will require you to handle the media. A huge chunk of your time is being spent in the spotlight, which just comes with the job. This means tons of press and tons of interviews, and for a kid that can be a lot to handle. But some networks like Disney are more concerned with their image, so they put their actors through media training as soon as they get added to a movie or TV show. It's been reported that they teach their actors to play dumb whenever a tough question comes up. The Jonas Brothers spoke about it, saying that they were constantly pressured to keep their Disney image clean when doing press for the channel. They said, I quote, "They teach you how to change the subject. Whenever you are asked an uncomfortable question, playing dumb is the best way to get out of anything." They also admitted that when doing interviews all together, because they were a group, they strategically divided the interviews by subject. Nick took the serious questions, Kevin took the lighthearted ones, and Nick and Joe answered anything that had to do with their songwriting. Turns out this even went as far as having autograph training. Disney provides autograph training to their talent who need to sharpen their penmanship. They would actually approve their autograph beforehand. Taking our number 1 spot is showing skin is a sin. Not allowed under any circumstances. One child was actually almost fired from the Disney Network for a simple social media picture. Back in 2011, Bella Thorne was just 13 years old and smiled for a camera on a beach wearing a black bikini that her own mother bought her. Bella told the story during an interview and said that Disney threatened to fire her over this due to the morality clause, saying it was too risque for a young actor. They decided to give her another chance, but often had control over how she kept her prim and proper image. She wasn't the only one who had issues with this though. All of the girls on the network often had to wear a one-piece bathing suit or a high-waisted version of the bikini, which was always a very big controversy because the boys were allowed to be shirtless on camera in some of their scenes. I didn't mind when Zac Efron was though. But the girls' wardrobe was always very conservative. Reports have been made that Disney required some girls to even bind their chests if they developed too early. It started years ago on the original Mickey Mouse Club. Annette Funicello developed early than the other girls on the show and she was forced to bind her chest. It's continued to be an issue over the years and often you will see young actors wearing baggy clothes or sweatshirts to cover up their female developments. That's pretty messed up. Well, there you have it guys, there is our list. Let me know what you think of these strict rules down in the comments below. Our childhood doesn't seem all that bad now, right? Also, show us some love by hitting that thumbs up button. For now, let's do some comment shoutouts. Stephanie Carter says, I love top 10. As soon as I get off work and make it home, I change, then lay down for a few and watch all my top 10 videos. This is by far one of my favorite comment shoutouts. Thank you for watching. The Crawdaddy Vlogger says, hey, I just wanted to say this is the best YouTube show in the world. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Oh my god, there are so many compliments today. I can't even handle it. Thank you. All About Movies with David says, does Lucy ever smile? No. Like never. She's pretty much dead inside. On that note, I am taking off. Like, comment, subscribe, stalk us on social media, whatever you want. I'm your host Joss, and I will see you next time.